Survey says, kick the baby.
Don't kick the goddamn baby.
Kick the baby. Hey everybody, it's Tuesday, November the 9th, 2020, and this is the Fourth and Wrong Podcast. I'm your host, RJ, and joining me as always is Keith. Say hi, Keith.
Hi, Keith. I timed the water good that time.
Nice. Keep it hydrated. Keep it H20 in the 2020. Fellow children.
Yeah.
Fellow kids. Yeah, I don't think I should be allowed on the internet anymore. Too bad you can't keep me away.
Free country.
Maybe I shouldn't go like this when I say you can't keep me away. This is maybe...
Hit him with some of these.
Maybe don't talk with your hands so much when... Nice. Alright. So football this week. You don't have much to talk about. I've got a fair amount to talk about as far as, our team's games go. But...
Yeah, we'll go in the usual order. We'll start with the Browns.
Yeah, this week the Browns were not a 6-point team.
Yeah, they didn't lose.
Didn't lose.
For people that don't know, the Browns were on a bye, so
yeah.
Didn't lose. So that's a positive. And that concludes our Browns segment for the week.
Yay!
So how about them Bills?
Baker's got COVID, maybe.
Yeah. He was exposed to COVID.
Yeah. Hey, picked a good week for it. And you're getting Nick Chubb back. I mean, can we talk about that? That's or is that
sure, absolutely.
Is that jumping ahead?
No, that's fine. We can just go ahead and riff off the Browns news real quick. Nick Chubb, who injured.
I'm excited for you to get Nick Chubb back because
I'm excited to get
because
Nick Chubb
you
back.
It's sort of just one of those places where you guys are still definitely in the running, and that's a major piece. So seeing you guys back at full strength after losing Odell, it's kind of, I think it's going to shift what you guys do as a team a little bit, though that's kind of been moving. But anyways, let's just get back to his injury and stuff before we dive into all that.
Yeah, sure. So Nick Chubb was injured in week 4, pretty serious knee injury, and it's official that he's going to be activated off of injury reserve following the bye week. So
wasn't it like a high ankle sprain or something? What exactly was his injury?
I want to say it was an MCO or an ACL.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I think it was an MCL. Now that I think about it,
but it wasn't a complete tear.
Right. But he still.
So he didn't need surgery.
Okay.
He just needed to not use his knee for 6 weeks.
For a while. Yeah.
It was at the tail. It was pretty much bang on to what the recovery period everybody estimated would be, which is great. So like I said last week, I felt like what was most important this week is coming out of the bye week more healthy than we went into it, and just getting Nick Chubb alone is huge because we've been playing hurt for most of the season, especially on defense. Mm-hmm. And we were so invested. The first 4 weeks of the season, we're so invested on that run-first identity. And although Kareem Hunt has been as good as we could hope him to be, considering how we've had to utilize him or how the offense has chosen to utilize him, Nick Chubb really is the heart and soul of that running back locker room. It takes pressure off of Kareem Hunt, so we can use Kareem Hunt more to his specialty, which is an all-around kind of scat/running back, where we have Nick Chubb for the first 3 downs that'll just run it up your gap and make you feel really bad about it.
Right, Kareem Hunt's the third down, split him out wide, throw him in the slot.
Yeah, you can put him in the slot, or you can run routes out of the backfield, or you can hand him the ball off and he'll snap off for 8 to 20 yards, depending. But Nick Chubb is that every down back. He has that. Prior to his injury, he had that that toughness and that resilience to carry the ball 25 times a game and get 130 yards, averaging 4 to 6 yards a clip. Like, it's huge for the offense, especially with Odell's injury. He's going to be out for the season. It's huge to get a piece like that back. It's pretty much perfect timing, like we talked about last week. Coming out of the bye week, this is going to be the easy portion of our schedule. Having Nick Chubb coming into the easy portion of our schedule, we're going to see Jarvis Landry having to get a lot more involved in the passing game, which he already attempted to accomplish in the sleet game from last week.
Right.
But I feel good. I feel okay coming out of the bye week. I don't have any major concerns aside from the ones that we've voiced a million times over. Sendejo's still a bum. Mayfield, statistically, Mayfield's not having a terrible season, but he's not having a great season. He's having a good enough season, which, depending on how the rest of the season goes, might be fine, might be okay.
Right.
I'm not really sure.
Well, that's kind of what I was going to get into with Chubb getting back. Is you guys he's been out, and you guys have kind of gone through a lot as an offense as far as where your identity is with Odell being out, and you guys had kind of already shifted more towards being a run heavy team. You had your one guy whose name I can't pull right now, pulling a fair chunk of yards those first couple of weeks that Chubb was out. So now, being more established, especially since you lose a weapon like Odell, being more established as a running team, getting Chubb back right now to be that, proper, punch versus the jab of Kareem Hunt. You guys are figuring out what's getting the win, and it feels like you're really getting the strongest piece to solidify that identity back at this point.
Oh, 100%. Like, I still think it's important for Baker Mayfield to develop and continue improving as a quarterback. But
he's a good hander-offer.
He's a great hander-offer, and he'll be the first one to tell you that. And it was established early in the season, like, that this offense is schemed around the running game. Baker Mayfield is more of a supplemental role. And anytime we see the Browns winning, that seems to be very much the case. Now, we've seen flashes of impressive play from Baker when they've had to lean on the passing game, but it just hasn't been as consistent as the running game could be.
Right.
Especially with Nick Chubb coming back. Some other key injuries that I was kind of keeping an eye on going into this bye week was how Myles Garrett was going to recover after his early injury in the Las Vegas game. How Jarvis Landry is going to recover because he was already hurt. He already was playing with a rib injury, and then he got banged up in the Las Vegas game even more. It was just so imperative for us to take advantage of this bye week and just relax. Settle down. Like, the hype's over. Okay, we're 5-3. We carried a 4-1 record in the first, or a 3-1 record in the first 4 games of the season, and then the second quarter of the season have kind of been and a lot of that has to do with the health of the team. I still suspect that we're going to get into a lot of shootouts with teams that we shouldn't be getting in shootouts with, but I'm more comfortable with it with Nick Chubb in the backfield, because if you can just run the ball for 200 yards a game, Baker doesn't have to throw the ball as much.
It's true. He only has to throw it for about $150, or a Cam Newton, as we call it these days.
So, I'm excited. We still, according to all the big overlying statistics, we still hold on to a above average possibility of making the playoffs this year, depending on how the wild card picture shakes out in the AFC, especially with how weak the AFC East is this year. Because normally, traditionally, we'd see the division leader, and then, especially in recent history with the Bills performing the way they have, one of the 2 wild card spots always is coming out of the East. And then one of the 2 wild card spots kind of just floats around between the North or
in the West, generally.
And the West, which is a stacked division. The AFC South, they got the Titans, so at least they have that going for them. So the way the divisions are kind of shaking out this year, we still hold on to a decent opportunity to make it into the playoffs. It's still kind of early to have that conversation, but at the same time, it's not, because we're finally getting to the point where we're starting to see spreads. We're starting to see differential between the teams. You know, it was not long ago where the Browns had the same record as the Chiefs and the Bills. You know, now it's getting to the point where we're starting to see the discrepancy between like the really good teams this season separated from the playoff contenders, separated from the playoff hopefuls, separated from everybody else. Mm-hmm. And so far we're holding on to the dream.
Have you so just quickly speaking about your playoff potential, have you heard that there may be a 16 team playoff bracket?
Are they going to start that this year?
It is a COVID contingency plan. So it may potentially be for just this year, because this was also the year that they expanded the playoffs, so that only one team on each side gets a bye.
Yeah, I do remember that. And then this next coming season is when they expand the regular season, correct?
To 17 games, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be cool if they just let half of the fucking league in the playoffs.
And none of the NFC East.
And none of the NFC East. Like, that's really the big thing. If they're going to expand the playoff format to 16 teams as, like, a COVID thing, just, like, cut the season short and just have 16 teams in the playoffs, the NFC East isn't allowed. They're not invited.
Yeah.
I will not allow it. But some key injuries on the offensive line. Wyatt Teller comes back this week after being out for a couple of games.
Important.
There's just big pieces. None of them on the defense, though. The defense still trash. They're all dead, except for Myles Garrett, but he was only injured for that one game. They're all dead, so that's cool. And hopefully we get Austin Hooper back, too, and get the tight end group back to full strength coming into next week. Just for the quick preview for next week, we're playing Houston. And normally I would be concerned about Houston, and I still am, only because Deshaun Watson. But literally that's it. Yeah. The rest of the team, I have, like, Deshaun Watson is a wild card, but the rest of the team I have no concerns about whatsoever. No. So, like I said, the rest of the season, like I said last week, the rest of the season for Cleveland this year is fine. It is a fine season. We play you guys. We play all of our division opponents again. And
wait, we play?
I thought we did. Or maybe I'm mistaken.
Not to my knowledge. That's why we play the Steelers this year, I think. That's our NFC North or AFC North.
Who was I thinking of? Oh, I'm thinking of the Titans. I don't know why I was thinking of you guys. I knew it was somebody outside of the division that was hard that we had left.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so we got fucking divisional opponents. We've already played the Bengals twice and swept that series. So we play the Ravens one more time, the Steelers one more time, and then we play the Titans, and everybody else on our schedule is cupcake. It's the Texans, the Eagles, the Jags, the Giants, and the Jets.
Yeah, I think we were talking about your schedule, last week, and going over it. I was like, you guys could very easily end up with 10 wins.
Yeah, this is a very, very obtainable 10-6 season.
Yeah.
The problem with Cleveland, and it's the problems that Cleveland's always had, is we notoriously let one of those teams sneak a win past us. Like teams that really shouldn't beat us, we notoriously let them sneak a win past
maybe
us.
This is the year that you're turning things around, and that doesn't happen.
Yeah, Myles Garrett will just go out and try to murder every quarterback instead of just one.
Yeah.
He doesn't even have to do it against the Jets. They're doing fine on their own.
That's true.
With murdering all of their quarterbacks.
That's
true. Daniel Jones he's fucking Daniel Jones.
Fast white
Carson
boy.
Wentz is fast white boy. That's about it. Carson Wentz is doing a pretty good job of getting himself murdered every day. Gardner Minshew, a lot of questions have popped up about Gardner Minshew. Really, the only stable teams we have left to play are the three that we're probably going to have the hardest time with, and that's Titans, Ravens, and the Steelers. So with this bye week and us recovering from some of these key injuries, I'm feeling good going into next week, and then pretty much I'm feeling good all the way up until we play the Titans, which is like week 13 or week 14, something like that.
Yeah.
So We'll see. Who knows? I'm excited to see Chubby back out there so I can yell Chubbers at the TV some more because it makes people uncomfortable.
I think your big problem is, on one hand, 10-6 is very attainable. On the other hand, 10-6 might not be enough this year.
Dude, 10-6 in the AFC North isn't enough.
Like,
it's just not.
10
not
and
with
6
the Steelers and the Ravens.
10-6 is third place.
Yeah, so like because this is my prediction, hot take. The Steelers and the Ravens are going to go 13-3 and 12-4.
Okay.
I don't know which one is going to do that yet.
Okay.
But I think that's how those teams are going to shake out. So we need a gift.
Right.
Even with a 10-6 season, we need a gift. The AFC North is officially the toughest it's ever been, and the Bengals are deciding to win games out of nowhere.
Right.
Like I'm glad we've already taken care of them. We've already won our 2 Bengals games. But like,
yeah, we'll talk about how I feel about the Dolphins in a minute.
Yeah, we'll see how that shakes out next season. Like it's another one of those years where like, so the same thing happened the last time the Browns were this close to making the playoffs. It was 2008. The Browns were either 11-5 or 10-6, and so were the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
The Steelers won the division, and the Ravens and the Browns tied, but the Ravens had the regular season tiebreaker. Every single time the Browns are good, the whole division is stacked. The last time the Browns made the playoffs, this is how stacked they were the last time the Browns made the playoffs, which is 2000 or 2001. The first round, the first wild card game the Browns were in was against the fucking Steelers. Mm-hmm. So we had to play the Steelers 3 times that year. And then we gave them that game.
Right.
Like, I hate the AFC North. I don't like being in this division. It's every single time a team is good in the division that I like, every team in that division is good. Except for there's usually one, and it just so happens to be Cincinnati. But you remember when fucking Cincinnati first got Andy Dalton and they made it like 6 straight playoffs?
Yeah.
Like
perennially like 10+ wins every season somehow.
Yeah. I mean, they got knocked out in the first or second round every year, but they were there. They were dancing.
Right.
You know, you can't succeed in the playoffs if you never made it, and they fucking made it. It's always the Ravens, the Steelers, and the Bengals. When is it the Browns' turn? When are the Browns going to get their time?
Maybe this year. Or maybe you'll break the Bills record. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe they'll expand it to fucking 16 games and just give me a gift. Yeah. Just like by default, let my Browns into the playoffs.
I think at this point they have to reset the timers for how many years everybody's been out of the playoffs, since everybody gets one more shot now. It's like the Bills will be
gets a mulligan.
The Bills will be the all-time leader at 17 or fucking whatever. More records you don't want.
Yeah, no shit. But that's been our Browns Minute.
Yeah, I was going to say, I knew you had more to talk about then.
Well, we started talking about news and projections and stuff. We usually save that towards the end of the show.
We should have done a lot more projections last week, but, you know, with it being the official middle of the season, I feel like, but...
I mean, we can do that now. It's still the middle of the season.
It's true. It's the other half of the middle of the season. Well, if I remember to do that at the end, we'll do it.
I'll write it down.
Okay. I won't. So let's talk about the game that we both watched.
Hey, that was a fucking football game.
Let's talk about this thing. What? Who expected the Bills to put up 44 points? I didn't.
I did.
I
mean, maybe not 44 exactly, but, I mean, what did I tell you last week?
Their defense is bad.
Y'all are going to throw all over each other.
Seattle's defense is bad.
It took Seattle almost the entire football game to remember how to play offense. Mm-hmm. But it turned it turned scary there for a little bit.
It got sort of close a couple of times, but
it got tense. I wouldn't say it was scary. It was tense. It was like
I'm pretty sure the Bills had the lead the entire game.
Yeah. So. But the Seahawks brought it within a score or two on several occasions.
Yeah, they brought it.
Just like
they brought it within a touchdown, and they made it to the point where it was like, okay, Josh, you have to answer, because as soon as you don't, and to Josh's,
as soon as you don't, Russ is going to eat you up.
Yeah, to Josh's credit, it's kind of like playing the Patriots, but like a slightly different game. Whereas like if you make a mistake against the Patriots, they're going to make you pay because they're not going to make any mistakes. This was, It felt like if we didn't go out there and score, we were gonna fall behind at some point. And we just didn't. I mean, I think Corey Bojorquez saw the field like twice all game, so...
Yeah. That poor guy. Every single time I saw him on the sideline, just, like, keeping loose. It's like, at least you're keeping your head in the game.
Twice. He punted twice.
Yeah. And, speaking of Josh Allen and his ability to answer, way to go Josh Allen for having his second best career game in the same fucking season that he had his best career game. Good for him.
So, he's also the only quarterback, period, in NFL history to twice in the same season have a game where you throw for 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, and have a passer rating of 130 or better. Like, Breeze, Brady, a couple other people, when I saw the stat, like, have done it in their careers, but they've never done it in the same season.
Yeah. That's not a bad league to be in all by yourself.
Yeah.
But when you only miss 7 passes...
It's
for the entire game.
It's pretty good. 31 for 38 is pretty good. Passing for 81% is pretty good.
And when Sean McDermott just goes, their secondary is the worst secondary in the league, so we're just never gonna run the ball.
When Brian Daboll goes, we're gonna do some Alabama shit.
Yeah, we're like it was seriously like watching. It was like watching like a fucking Pac-12 West Coast spread college game the entire time.
Yeah, it was just like
even
wide.
Even Seattle barely ran the fucking football. Like both teams were just like, these secondaries aren't now. The Bills secondary is objectively better than Seattle secondary, but in my opinion and in your opinion, occasionally it feels like the Bills secondary can tend to underperform at times.
Seattle,
and I feel like.
Sorry, go on. Finish your thought.
The Bills secondary. Can tend to underperform at times. And I think both of those offensive coordinators were just like, we're just going to do that. We're just going to throw all over the fucking place.
Seattle also has this guy called DK Metcalf, and he's not a nice guy.
He's a fucking cheat code, dude. I felt bad. Because the Bills have a small secondary.
Yeah, they're not big.
Just across the board. They don't have like a Richard Sherman type or somebody like that.
No.
It's a bunch of small, athletic, fast guys. And then DK Metcalf he looks like a fucking monster among men out there. He's a man amongst boys.
He's just bigger.
He is just bigger. He is just bigger. He is just faster. And he's very disrespectful.
Yeah, this is the second week where a Bills cornerback just got hucked by somebody.
Mm-hmm. By just a very large, disrespectful human.
Like, why? Like, Trey's not even to the good part of his contract yet. God damn.
He just chucked him into the bench. It was legitimately... It felt like I was watching a college game, and I was okay with that. Like,
wasn't bad.
Especially with, like, how... I mean, just how bad Seattle's secondary is. It was a nice stamp for the Bills, a nice return to form.
It was like
in the first quarter of the season.
8 yards on a slant, 10 yards on an out, 8 yards on a slant, 10 yards on an out, just like over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Like first down.
Yeah. And you guys have the receivers to take those underneath balls and make something out of them.
Oh yeah.
You know, they were playing. They were giving. The Seattle was giving the Bills receivers way too much respect, and so there wasn't a lot of times where. You know, like I think the longest completion through the air that Josh Allen had all day was like only like 20 or so yards.
Yeah, he didn't throw anything super deep.
Yeah, because he didn't need to.
I think the deepest
Beasley or Stephon.
I think the deepest pass may have been that first touchdown to Isaiah McKenzie on that crossing route, and that was 25, 30 yards, something like that. You know, tops. But yeah, I mean. He was spreading it around. Everybody was getting a touch. I think like of his first 6 completions, every single one of them, like he went 6 for 7 and hit 6 different targets. Like, not bad. He had 2 touchdowns and 282 yards in the first half. Like he had a full game's worth of touchdowns and passing yards in a half. He had 2 Cam Newtons in the first half.
Yeah, he played...
I'm going to keep driving that as a metric until it sticks.
Okay. Having an entire game's worth of stats by halftime is not necessarily a bad thing. Can we talk about AJ Klein for a second, though?
Yeah, let's talk about the fact that I'm pretty sure he got drug tested immediately after that game.
Like, who the fuck is AJ Klein?
I think he was mainly a special teams guy.
Yeah, like, he's like 30.
I think he also came from you guys.
I don't know about that.
It was you guys are the
Steelers. I've never heard of the motherfucker, but he was balling out, dude.
Or I'm wrong twice.
2 sacks, a forced fumble. He said, "Hey, we don't need no Matt Milano, at least for this game. I got it."
Klein was the guy that we signed from the Saints. Okay.
Got you.
I'm thinking of a different guy that we signed from the Steelers, who's a linebacker, who's mostly a special teamer. But yeah,
he was really fun to watch.
Like Matt Milano got put on IR and said, "AJ Klein, here are all of my superpowers."
He was out there in coverage. He was in the backfield disrupting the quarterback.
Matt Milano said, "You are the white linebacker now."
And what's cool is like his strip, like his forced fumble, like wasn't even like a Judy Schwartz strip.
No, he got in there and
he ran into Russ and just pulled the ball away from him. I was like, "This is mine now.
Give me that. This is mine's now."
Yeah, fucking poor Russell Wilson.
Hit 16 times that game, the most by any quarterback, most hits on any quarterback this entire season. That includes Carson Wentz, that includes Danny Dimes, that includes, I guess, Baker.
Yes. That's what more than anyone else
means. Yes, technically speaking, that is what more than anyone means. I just couldn't remember if Baker had a suspiciously high game of hits or not, which is why I was going to leave him alone. But
maybe.
Regardless, he got messed up a lot.
Yeah, Josh Allen got popped around too, especially in the second half when every single one of your linemen decided to die.
Yeah, losing 2 guards and a tackle is not a real good way to protect your quarterback.
Yeah, when you're playing like your second string center because you needed to rotate your center out to guard so Josh Allen wouldn't get murdered, and he still got murdered.
Especially when one of the guards you lose is the guy you drafted instead of DK Metcalf. God damn it.
You gotta earn your keep.
Just like
Josh Allen.
I look at it this way. We really could have Josh Allen, DK Metcalf, and Chase Claypool all on the same team right now. I mean,
you could have.
And Stephon Diggs, because I think Claypool was a second-round pick.
Here's a stat for you, RJ.
But hey, who still came away with the W?
Them Bills.
Us. What's the stat?
I lost it.
Oh.
That's fine.
Nice.
I don't care.
Devin Singletary had 0.5 rushing yards on the game.
Hell yeah. That's a stat. Left hash Bash still out there doing his thing.
Yeah,
he missed one from the left hash. How dare you?
Like 61.
Whatever.
Which is funny because when you looked at it, it's like, oh, he could have hit that from 65 if he didn't miss.
Yeah. He had the leg. He overcompensated and just pushed it, you know.
And Stephon Diggs currently leads the league in both receptions and receiving yards.
Good for him. He deserves it. Minnesota learning that Stephon Diggs better than Adam Thielen.
God. All right. Stephon Diggs is leading. DK Metcalf is right behind him in yards. Metcalf also is doing it on 20 fewer receptions with 5 more touchdowns.
He's a big boy. He is. What did I tell you when he scored that touchdown?
Just better.
He's a fucking cheat code. Like when Russell Wilson,
he pinged off of 2 guys and just
when he wedges it to DK and DK just pinballs off of 2 fucking linebackers, not even tiny boys, big boys, and just goes boink boink touchdown.
Yeah. It was not
wrap that man up, wrap him up.
But getting back to the game a little bit, I feel like
steal his binky.
I feel like this was a game that was really necessary because we go into this game, we prove that we can beat up a piss-poor secondary. We prove that we can win a shootout, which, again, I did not expect the Bills to put up 44 points. I had this game penciled as a loss at the beginning of the season. I thought this was going to be one of the 4 that we lose. Turns out that game was Tennessee instead. So,
Mulligan.
Yeah. I think my overall prediction will still end up correct. But we get this right before going up against the Cardinals next week, and then going into our bye. So we could be 8-2 at the bye with 2 big wins against the NFC West, against kind of similar quarterbacks. So it'll be interesting to see if our defense can produce the same amount of pressure next week and get Kyler to, screw up.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be an interesting game to keep an eye on, because the key difference between Russell Wilson and Kyler Murray is Kyler Murray still likes to run more.
Yeah, yeah,
and he's faster.
Yes.
Than Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson's still a shifty dude, but Kyler Murray, if his first or second read's not there, he's taking off.
Right.
And they spread so much. Like, you really got to run that contain in the middle. But if you run too loose with the contain, then they're just going to chew you up in the passing game. So you got to keep pressure on the dude, but you can't lose him in the middle of the field. And trust me, he's tiny. He can get lost easy.
Yep.
He's a shifty little bugger.
But I like our odds against most of their team next week. I mean, to be fair, they've got the duo of Nuke and Larry Legend, so that's always going to be something to contend with.
Well, and depending on how your defense is playing, if the Miami Cardinals game showed us anything, is Larry and D-Hop can just go out there and be a distraction and let Christian Kirk eat.
Yeah,
they got talent.
And Kenyon Drake, I think. I think he's also in that backfield.
Yeah, and then Kyler Murray can run for 1,000,000 yards.
Yeah, so I mean, I honestly think next week may be very similar to this week as far as, the game plays out.
I mean, Arizona just had a very similar game against another AFC East team, so but I think it's very possible we see an AFC NFC repeat for next week.
Yeah, I think what I'm feeling right now though is more like I'm feeling an uptick in confidence from where I was the last couple of weeks, because realistically, it's feeling to me like if the Bills could somehow make it through the AFC, we'd have a shot. We get to see a few more NFC West teams, but at this point, the Niners are not anywhere near what we expected them to be at the beginning of the season, so they're not really threatening anything. We just beat the Seahawks. We get to see the Cardinals next week. So really, like the top teams that I think are a threat, have either burned out, we've just seen, or we'll see very shortly. How things will pan out. Because I can't think of a lot more NFC contenders that I really like. Green Bay, I guess. But Green Bay's got a super suspect defense also.
Yeah, and Green Bay is kind of in that same situation they were last year, where it's just like, is the offense is doing most of the work, so they're faking it.
Right.
They're frauds was the big thing last season. Is like, yeah, they were technically in the playoffs, but were they really a playoff team,
right,
or was it just Aaron Rodgers being great? And they're kind of showing similar colors this year. So, like, really, what's the competition there?
Right.
The NFC is not nearly as scary as it was last season.
Right.
Because we got the Rams losing a big game, and the 49ers are a shell of what they could be.
Yep.
So
I mean, we're halfway to sweeping the NFC West already, between the Rams and now the Seahawks. So if the Bills can learn to make it past a team like Kansas City or Pittsburgh or Baltimore,
which I think is a possibility, and we're going to find out at the end of the season when you play the Steelers.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yep. So I got some questions for you.
Sure. I love this portion.
So
Keith asks questions.
We talking about, we got a surprise win that you're counting as a trade for losing to the Titans.
Yeah.
Because you had those projections flipped.
Yeah.
With the 49ers where they're at right now and the Patriots where they're at right now, but Miami kind of coming up the way they are.
Yeah.
Where do you see you guys finishing out the season now? What kind of record are we talking about?
Oh, I'm still thinking, well, actually, because I counted the 49ers, I think, as a loss early in the season, too.
That's why I asked.
13-3?
Yeah, that's an extra win right there. One that you don't have accounted for because nobody on the schedule for the rest of the season. I mean, the Dolphins might surprise you. The Dolphins are always tough in the division.
I'm going to say it's going to be Carolina. The Cardinals next week are going to be the bigger challenge because we're traveling to Arizona, and they've got an offense, and again, we just proved that we could outshoot one offense. But the Cardinals, beat the Seahawks. So,
but they also lost to Miami. So that makes Miami better than the Seahawks.
It does, and we beat Miami, so we're double better. We're back to this good math again.
So
I cut that all out of last week. None of this is going to make sense.
It's rock paper scissors, baby.
None of this is going to
make
any
double
sense.
betters. It's just rock paper scissors. Why'd you cut it out?
I'm pretty sure I cut it out. I might have left some of it.
I ain't listened that far. I only listened to like the first 30 minutes.
Why did I cut it out? Because it got real stupid real fast.
It's rock, paper, scissors. I don't understand why you don't understand the principle of rock, paper, scissors.
Double plus ungood. Anyways.
How do you feel about the Steelers? Because right now, looking at your schedule, the Steelers is my biggest question mark for you guys for the rest of the season.
Yeah. I mean, yes. It was going to be them and the 49ers on my original Wheel of Pain, or, however you want to think of it.
Wheel of Doom.
But I want to pull up Pittsburgh's actual schedule real quick. Giants, Denver, Houston, Philly, Cleveland, Tennessee, Baltimore. So far they've beaten Tennessee and Baltimore and you guys.
Mm-hmm.
We may be one of the harder teams that the Steelers play this year. So
I agree.
Literally, finally looking at their schedule, I see how they're 8-0. 8-0, 9-0.
8-0. It hasn't been the hardest schedule.
But
that's for sure.
But they have beaten Baltimore. But that's a weird divisional game,
and plus Baltimore doesn't scare me that much this year. Now against us, they're scary.
Right.
But watching them play other teams objectively, they don't scare me as much as they used to.
They're kind of getting figured out a little bit, I think.
Yeah, I think people are starting to get the answer to Lamar and really kind of bring him down to everybody else's level.
Yeah, I mean they're gonna. Well, it seems like more than anything, they're forcing him out of the pocket and making him scramble more when what he wants to do 90% of the time is just stand in the pocket.
Yeah, and then really, and he's. Not only are they pushing him out of the pocket, when they push him out of the pocket, they're not letting him take off. It's like, no, you're going to beat us with your arm, but you're going to beat us uncomfortably with your arm.
Right.
And he's not really shown that he can really do that,
I don't know. Yeah, I see us at 13-3, or fuck. I mean, if we beat the Steelers, we could be 14-2. We could have had our 2 losses for this season already.
Sick.
The question is, does that do us better? Does that get us to first place? I don't think so.
First place in the AFC.
Yeah. Is Kansas City going to lose 2 more games because they've got a tiebreaker against us?
Yeah, and as much shit as I just talked about Baltimore, they still only have 2 losses.
If we beat the Steelers, are they going to lose more than 1 game?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you guys could be the only loss for the Steelers this year.
Now, they play Baltimore again.
They do play Baltimore again.
But
I actually want Baltimore to win that game.
Yeah.
Weird.
Well, because you're hoping to tighten up
sneak in there.
You're hoping to tighten up the division a little bit.
Everyone needs to lose to everyone else except for us.
Okay.
Because we already taken care of Cincinnati. If we split the rest of the division, we'll be okay.
But yeah, Pittsburgh is looking at their schedule kind of less scary than I had originally thought. So I mean, dude, yeah, the Bills could end up real good, and they're starting to do stuff. I really started enjoying watching the Bills again. I think last year when we saw Josh taking steps forward. And we made the playoffs again. But this year is starting.
Playoffs.
Yeah, this year is starting to be the thing where it's the Bills are doing stuff that they haven't done previously. Now, granted, some of the stuff that they haven't done previously is like have an average to below average defense, which is, you know, something that they need to fucking fix if you want to win playoff games.
It's also new for the Bills.
Yeah.
Considering how well the defense has played over the past 2 or 3 years.
Well, even going back to Rex Ryan, like, I mean, you know,
the Rexmen.
Yeah, Sexy Rexy, and his defenses. I mean, we were like a top rushing defense then. Mm-hmm. You know, when we had Mario, when we had Super Mario, and like Jerry Hughes. So, but and fucking Marcel Darius, back when he gave a shit still. But yeah, that's kind of everything I got on the Bills. So let's move on. We've kind of been talking. Well, we were just talking about the Cardinals, and I kind of want to talk about this game. So we'll talk about the Miami-Arizona game. And
go Tua.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
bruh.
Pull that Tua continuing to or attempting to pull that crow out of Keith's mouth before he can swallow it.
Please keep doing it.
Comes out and
I need to be validated.
Comes out and has a win, and Miami has won 4 games in a row.
Wild, right?
Like the Bills are 7-2, but weirdly we still have to like keep an eye on the rear view. That is Miami.
It's funny, the optics at the beginning of the season. Like, yeah, at the beginning of the season when the Patriots started off as strong as they did with Cam Newton under center, and it's just like we agreed. We don't think the Patriots are going to be as good as they used to be.
Yeah.
But that's still going to be the team to watch out in the AFC East.
Right.
Now what the fuck's going on? Like
now they're threatening for your playoff spot is what Miami's doing.
Yeah, you fucking prick. Stop.
Every time the Browns get good.
Every time. It's the AFC East and the AFC North. They just got to dick me. I'm mad. It's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was, this game was one of the other games I was keeping an eye on for the little bit of football that I watched. Another real fun game to watch. It was very clean football. You know, the only team that turned over, I believe Kyler Murray had a fumble that he lost, and it was recovered by Shaq Lawson, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, it was kind of like that one drive that was taken away. It turned out to be a 3-point game. You know, that one drive that was taken away on that turnover could have been the turning point for the Cardinals, you know, losing a tight one to Miami, where Tua, we said last week, Tua, they won last week, but Tua didn't really have to do anything. This week, Tua wanted to actually play football.
Right.
And he came out and he played fucking football. He had a great game, you know, almost 250 yards with 2 touchdowns. And then
no picks.
Right on the other side of the ball, Kyler Murray, fucking almost 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. And Kyler Murray ran for 100 yards.
Jesus.
So
squirrely little fuck.
Yeah, like, so this is funny stat. Chase Edmonds, Arizona's running back, had 25 carries for 70 yards. He averaged almost 3 yards a carry. Kyler Murray had 11 carries for 106 yards and a touchdown. Excuse me? You're a quarterback? You're not... Stop. We don't need more Lamar Jackson-esque motherfuckers in the league, okay? Just pump your brakes for a second.
It's just faster Russ.
Yeah, he's just faster Russ. And he's
every single time way faster Doug Flutie.
Way faster Doug Flutie. It was a really fun game to watch. It was very, very dynamic, you know. I still do not believe that Kyler Murray's 5'10". Every time I see him in the huddle or, you know, receiving the snap, he is not 5'10". That motherfucker's... He is 5'8".
Kyler Murray.
Yeah. But, you know, like we alluded to, D-Hop and Larry Fitzgerald took enough attention away from the rest of the receivers where Christian Kirk was able to eat.
Yeah.
Tua did a good job of spreading the ball all over the place.
And it's not like Larry and Nuke were inefficient 4 for 5 and 3 for 3. It's like, we still catch.
Yep. And it was high efficiency catches too. You know, every one of their catches was basically for a first down.
Yep.
It was just fun football from two young, future, bright, better than Justin Herbert stars. Because I'm not wrong about quarterbacks ever.
Right. I'll give you half of that because one of them has already won a Rookie of the Year. So.
Yeah, you're right.
So we'll see how the other one does.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little late in the season.
What you got, Justin Herbert? Dude, that'd be some shit if Tua came in like almost halfway through the season and was like, I'm the Rookie of the Year.
Look at me. Look at me.
Yeah.
I'm the rookie now.
But 2 starts for Tua, 2 wins for Tua. Let Tua cook. Who knows?
There's a Let Josh Cook shirt out, except they want like $30 for it, and I was like, that's a lot.
If it's not official NFL merch, I'm not spending $30 on it.
It's like, that's a lot.
Like, I expect that kind of shit from the NFL.
And what Justin Herbert has is over 300-yard passing for 2 touchdowns, but it's not enough against the Raiders.
The Raiders,
who are also 5-3 and pushing for your playoff spot.
I know. Quit reminding me. Another game where Derek Carr really didn't have to do much.
No. Derek back of the bus. Derek soccer mom. Derek carpool, if you will.
I would say, Derek's job at games like that is not to turn the ball over, but he had the only Raiders turnover of the game. So
yeah, well, it'd be like that sometimes.
It'd be like that sometimes. You want to just brush over the rest of the league real quick?
Darren Waller not making catches, unlike Aguilar.
Oh my God! Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I briefly wanted to talk about the Steelers-Dallas game, which we kind of talked about a little bit earlier. The Steelers almost lost to another quarterback whose name I don't know.
You don't know Gary Gilbert?
No. I know that he was on your practice squad, because apparently I heard...
Well, he wasn't just on the practice squad.
Uh-huh.
He suited up.
Uh-huh.
He was Baker Mayfield's direct backup for that one time.
Well, he still almost got hot enough to fucking beat Big Ben, so...
And then Big Ben said, nah.
Yeah. Said, I've been going to...
unanswered.
I've been going to church.
Fucking Pittsburgh's one of those teams where they just want to scare their fans. They want to give their fans heart attacks. That's all they want to do this season. They're gonna make it to the playoffs, but they're gonna do it in like in a very offensive way for their fan base.
The Steelers, the only team to lower the life expectancy in their city.
Yeah, by almost losing games to the fucking Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah. That's a bad team.
Yeah.
It's a bad team in a bad division.
That's a really bad team in a really bad division. I wonder what happened to DiNucci, though. I guess they just benched him because they got a hold of Gilbert.
DiNucci, yeah, it's entirely possible.
Because they stole Gilbert off of our fucking practice squad.
Gotta be careful.
Dicks.
They'll snatch you.
Well, that's what happens when they're not protected.
Yeah. And Big Ben went for like 75% throwing for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, so, he had another game.
He did Big Ben shit. I caught little bits and pieces of the Kansas City Panthers game.
Okay, talk to me about that.
Kansas City almost lost that game to the fucking Panthers.
Yeah, I saw that. They were behind for like most of the game.
Yeah, and Patrick Mahomes pretty much had to go off.
Yeah.
It was Run CMC's return game.
Right.
So we saw a little more balance out of Carolina's offense. But with that being said, Teddy still played really well.
Did we see that much balance? Teddy Bridgewater almost threw it 50 times.
Well, yeah, because Run CMC also can do this thing called catching the ball.
It's true.
So
I think the only thing he doesn't do is kick the ball.
Yeah, so when your running back is also your second leading receiver on the team, I still call that balance.
Yeah, I suppose.
Because that's a fifth weapon, Yeah, it turned into a shootout, turned into like a quarterback duel pretty quickly. Patrick Mahomes pretty much had to go off and do Patrick Mahomes shit to sneak the win out. But for the longest time, for a while, the Panthers were winning. They had a 2-score lead at one point, and then starting in the fourth quarter, it was just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It was really exciting football to watch. It was nice seeing Teddy Bridgewater get out there and really play to like a form that we saw when he was in Minnesota. I've always felt like he was capable of doing it. We're starting to see a little more comfort out of the Panthers, which is nice. But they're still obviously in a rebuild, and these are games. Kansas City to me is still scary, but these are games where it kind of shows, like we've talked about several times in the show now, Kansas City, they look human at times where it's very inconvenient for them to look human. But at least they got a win out of this one. Travis Kelce had himself a fucking day with 169 yards. Tyreek Hill, only 50% on his catches, but he had 2 touchdowns and over 100 yards. So it was... I was keeping an eye on it because the ticker came across my screen, Panthers leading the Chiefs, and I was like, that's not right. That's fake. There's
fake news.
Yeah, I'm going to watch that one for a minute because I'm here in North Carolina, so that was the local game, so I threw it on the TV while I was watching the Bills game on my laptop, and it's just like, I'll kind of bounce back and forth. And then it turned out to like probably one of the better games of the week. But upon saying that in reflection, there's a lot of just a really fun football to watch this week. So, and I missed almost all of it.
Wow, that happens. All right, what do we got next?
Those were really the only games I actually paid attention to.
Okay.
The Tampa Bay Saints game I kind of passively paid attention to. Only because of how, like, you brought it up. I was actually on the way back from a call when you were just like, yo, the Bucks are getting their shit kicked in.
Yeah.
I checked the score and it was like, no shit, they are. It was about halftime at this point. 38-3. Drew Brees trying to prove a point, I guess.
Yeah,
that he can blow out teams by just checking the ball down.
Drew Brees said, "Welcome to my division."
Yep. And first time Tom Brady's thrown 3 interceptions since 2011.
Against the Bills.
Yep. And all 3 of those picks,
I think it might have
I watched
been
them.
against the Bills.
I could have been. I watched all 3 of those interceptions, and all 3 of them were 100% Tom Brady's fault. They were just bad balls. There might have been some disruption or some pressure that made him throw a bad ball, but Tom Brady's the cat that if he's getting pressured, he doesn't throw lollipops, he throws it away. He wasn't throwing it away, he was throwing lollipops, and the secondary was eating on him. So, bad Tom. Bad. Oh, and also Taysom Hill's still a freak.
Yeah, he was all over the field doing billions of things, and once again proving that he's not a viable quarterback, but doing the most.
Hey, he was 100% on his completions when he was playing quarterback.
If they had an award for most player, he would win every year.
Yeah, if they had like a best 6th man equivalent in the NFL for like best gadget player, like it'd be him and like Run CMC.
Yeah. Those
would be your 2 candidates for the last 2 seasons.
I was gonna say there might be a couple wide receivers in there,
but do those wide receivers? Hey, Jarvis Landry plays quarterback.
Exactly. Well, yeah, that's kind of what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And Odell threw a touchdown once too.
Holy shit! All right, the Bills have finally done it. Just one last note. Up until last week, the Bills still had a negative point differential.
Hey.
They were like 100. I want to say they were 198 to 199.
Only took a 44-34 game against the Seahawks.
Yeah, that's exactly what they were. They were 198 to 199. So we were 6-2 with a negative point differential.
Nice.
Yeah, but we fixed that.
No.
All right. Well,
want to get into some top headlines?
Yeah, sure. I'm looking at this picture of of Josh Allen where he suspiciously looks like Nathan Peterman. It's very weird.
Should be unnerving. That's when he starts throwing picks. It's when he looks like Nathan Peterman.
Yeah. Well, apparently he looked like... Oh, this was against the Chiefs, so yeah. Funny story.
So, injury headline. Shortly after Run CMC made his triumphant return to play Kansas City, he's injured again.
Bye-bye.
He's now day-to-day with a shoulder injury.
Run back to the bench, CMC.
Yeah, sucks for you, nerd. Hope you feel better. Even worse news is Alex Smith's pathway to starting in Washington may have been cemented by another catastrophic leg injury to Kyle Allen, who is going in to have surgery when his foot did this against Jabril Peppers' leg.
What did he do? Completely dislocate his foot or something?
Yeah, is a small fracture and complete dislocation. So he pretty much has like a chip fracture, and then his foot got pulled from the joint and rotated this away.
Gross.
Yeah, it wasn't quite as gruesome as the Alex Smith injury, but still pretty gross to watch live. It's funny if you watch the play. A lot of people are calling for Jabril Peppers, the safety that caused the injury, to be suspended because they're claiming tripping. Kind of what happened is Jabril Peppers was blitzing off the edge because that's what strong safeties do, and the tackle played him out wide. And actually, they both went kind of tumbling to the ground as Kyle Allen was kind of moving the pocket. And when Jabril tumbled, he kind of rolled and his leg like whipped out. And he literally like ninja kicked Kyle Allen in the shin. It didn't look intentional to me at speed because he was literally rolling and his leg just kind of flailed, you know?
But upon further review,
I could see it. I don't think anything's going to come of it. I don't think anything was intentional. Like, hey, I'm trying to break this dude's leg.
I mean, they almost killed Andy Dalton like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. So,
yeah,
if nothing came of that.
But Jabril Peppers is different because he used to play for the Browns.
Right. Well, I'm just saying he shouldn't be fucking suspended either. If apparently we're just doing nothing for quarterbacks these days.
Yeah, fuck it. Although Jabril Peppers did play under Greg Williams' defense when he was in Cleveland.
Greg 3Gs Williams.
But that sucks. He's going to probably be out for the rest of the season for obvious reasons.
Is Alex Smith the new Ryan Fitzpatrick?
I mean, Alex Smith, when he came in, he had himself a hell of a box score.
I'm gonna say, didn't he throw for just shy of 303 touchdowns with no picks?
Who, Alex Smith?
Yeah.
No, he threw for just over 300 yards, a touchdown, and 3 picks.
Oh, that's that dyslexia.
Yes, a little bit backwards there. It's technically a box score.
Yeah.
He was accurate. He was moving the ball downfield. Some bad passes here or there. He'll clean it up. Alex Smith is a decent quarterback.
This is the worst division.
That's kind of what I was about to say. Was like only in the NFC East could so much happen,
and nothing happened at the same time.
Nothing happened. The status quo, because every team. So I think it's literally just the Eagles are the only team. So it's okay. So I pulled it up. The Eagles are 3-4. Washington is 2-7. Dallas is 2-7, and then New York's 2-7. Washington's 2-6. Dallas is 2-7. New York's 2-7. The Eagles literally they're a game ahead because of 2 divisional games against their slightly weaker, trashy division opponents, and a cheeky win against the 49ers, who, as we have said before, probably one of the biggest tragedies in the NFC with how gutted that team is with injuries. Their injury list, the 49ers injury report, is like an entire roster of players.
Right well, the 49ers is the number of people they have on injured reserve this year.
Yeah. You're going to have to call them the 29ers here shortly.
Be the what we got lefts.
Yeah. So, aside from that tie with the Bengals, like, fucking Man, just throw that whole division away.
The Bills have as many wins as any 3 teams in that division put together.
It's sad. They need some milk.
One of these teams is going to the playoffs.
Yep, they sure are.
Over under okay. So do we see a tie with the Panthers who went 7-8-1? Like, did the Eagles even make it that far?
No, it's going to be a double-digit loss team in the playoffs this year.
They're going to go
like they're going to go 6-10 or some shit like that.
Well, or Philly would go 6-9-1.
No, they're going to go 5-10-1.
Okay.
There's going to be double-digit losses in the playoffs. If there isn't, I'm rioting. Solo riot for double-digit losses. If you're going to be that bad as a division, you need to bring something monumental to the playoffs, which is double-digit wins. And not only, or double-digit losses. Not only are you going to go in there with double-digit losses, 5-10-1, Philadelphia Eagles, they're going to play and win their wild card game. They're going to pull a fucking NCAA tournament fucking buy-in, last seed beats the first seed ass shit.
Well, the whole thing is they're not going to be the last seed because they're going to get a home game.
Because they're going to get a fucking home game because the NFL playoffs are stupid.
Like, yeah, a team from the NFC East is going to host a playoff game. It also means at some point they have to lose to either the Giants, the Cowboys, or the Washington football team because they have 3 divisional games left.
I think they are perfectly capable of losing those games.
And then they've also got to lose.
They already lost once to Washington.
They've got to lose to you, and then the rest are very losable because it's you, the Seahawks, the Packers, the Saints, and the Cardinals outside of their division.
5-10-1. They're going to win in the first round. They're going to play you guys in the second round, and you guys are going to fucking... Or they're not going to play... They're going to play... Who are they going to play? It's the NFC.
Seattle.
Yeah, they're going to play Seattle. And Seattle's going to fucking murder them. Bird on bird.
It's going to be the Bird Bowl.
Yeah, the Bird Bowl. Fucking Seahawks beat up the Eagles and, like, cook them for Thanksgiving or something. I don't know.
The Wing Bowl. It'll be long after Thanksgiving at this point.
Whatever, you can have Thanksgiving whenever you want.
Yeah,
Time is an illusion.
Yeah, well, it's a construct at the very least.
Mm-hmm. So that division still sucks.
Accurate.
So I have a segment that I want to do. So we're going to start with yours.
Okay.
Predictions. You mentioned predictions.
I did.
So let's get into it. What are we predicting? I already did my prediction. Eagles, double-digit losses, win in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Eagles are the team to take that division, so I'll go with you on that. I think they end up beating the rest. Well, I don't know. Yeah, it's hard. The Eagles will win the NFC East, and it'll be really sad. And then they'll have to play like the Vikings or something. And then Dalvin Cook will make them look like a miserable pile of garbage. Probably. So that'll be bad. I bet Stephon Diggs is the league receiving leader at the end of this year.
I mean, at this pace, he's on pace for 1,800 or 1,600 yards or some shit.
And some change, yeah. He'll still only have like 6 touchdowns, but you know.
Yeah. Can't get them all. That's why you got tight ends.
I don't think a running back for the Bills will go over 800 yards this season.
I think that's fair.
I would take the under on that.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, predictions or even just like mid-season awards. But you know, we'd have to think about that segment beforehand.
Well, that was my segment.
Oh, is that what you've got?
Oh yeah.
All right.
We're not thinking about shit. We're going for it.
Yeah, I don't have crap for predictions. Like that would have been something I'd had to think out more. So let's just move on to your stuff.
Okay. Mid-season MVP, go. And why is it Russell Wilson?
It's not Russell Wilson. I don't know. I think you still got to kind of trend towards like Pat Mahomes. Like he's still He's still playing at a high caliber. I mean, I think there like at this point in the season, there's sort of a muddle in the quarterbacks because like Mahomes hasn't been putting up 500-yard games or anything like that, so he's just been like consistently good, and they're 8-1. Aaron Rodgers like has to carry his whole team, but him and Russell kind of fall into this place where it's like you kind of got to win games to be the MVP, right? Like, at the end of the day, your team still has to succeed, or else, ultimately, are you valuable enough?
Well, at this point in the season, they're winning games, though.
Yeah. They're 6-3.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I guess that's a winning record.
Yeah, that's also only one more loss than you.
Yeah, but we just beat them, so
the Chiefs.
I have recency bias.
Sure, recency bias. I would argue the reason why it's Russell Wilson is because if you pull Russell Wilson out of that offense, they're not 6-3. They're not even close to 6-3.
Well, sure, but Russell Wilson's like, I mean,
that's what MVP means.
I mean, if you
most valuable player,
if you put Aaron Rodgers in there, are they 6-3?
Yeah.
If you put
Aaron Rodgers would be my my runner-up.
If you put Patrick Mahomes in there, are they 6-3?
Yeah, but it's about the context of the team.
Right. Well, I mean, you said if you pull Russell out, they're not 6-3. I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, when I say that, the reason why I'm saying that is because the only reason they're 6-3 is because of Russell Wilson.
Sure. Yeah, because their defense is shit, as the Bills proved once again.
Yeah, and the only reason Green Bay is where Green Bay is because of Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
That's why Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers are my 1 and 2. Patrick Mahomes, I'd argue, is still in that discussion, but we're not seeing Patrick Mahomes having to like shoulder the entire fucking team to win football games. That whole team is just really good. So
it's probably well, okay, then I'll change my answer. It's probably my vote would be for Rodgers at number 1 because he's doing it with less. Like he's got what, Devontae Adams? Is that the
Well, not according to Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams recently tweeted that he is the best receiver in the league. Period. Hard stop.
I mean, he put up 172 yards the other game, so it's kind of hard to argue with him.
He did. Defensive Player of the Year, and why is it Aaron Donald?
Because it's Aaron Donald.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't think we need to have a conversation about that.
Because it's not Stephon Gilmore.
Yeah, this is interesting, and I'm doing it in a format of I'm reading somebody else's list since we haven't had enough time to talk about it.
Sure.
Coach of the Year, and why is it Brian Flores?
It's not. It's Sean McDermott.
It is Brian fucking Flores.
It's not.
Miami's 5-3, and they accidentally won games.
They've got a top 5 drafted quarterback.
Who? The number 1 bust position in the entire league when it comes to top drafted players. And they fucked around and accidentally won games last season.
I mean, Miami's also got like a halfway decent front 7 now at this point. Like they've got a decent defense.
Yeah, I would make a stronger argument for Sean McDermott than Brian Flores, but I will acknowledge what Brian Flores has done with the Miami Dolphins.
I think he's done incredible things. I think he's got to do more still, though.
Yeah, this one's more of a conversation piece because I'm not going to defend this one way or the other. Comeback Player of the Year. The list is Alex Smith is the winner. Runners up: Teddy Bridgewater, Ben Roethlisberger.
Oh, I mean, I think you got to give it to Ben Roethlisberger.
I think you kind of got to. Like Alex Smith, I think this article is leaning way too much on the catastrophic nature of Alex Smith's comeback, not necessarily what he's done on the field since he's come back.
Alex Smith is the best comeback story. He's not the best comeback player.
Yes, Ben Roethlisberger is playing like Ben Roethlisberger of old.
Yeah.
Alex Smith is still getting his feet wet. Although, like you've already said, the Alex Smith story. Great story. I love to see it.
I mean, it's going to be hard to top that, like, in the NFL, in the history of the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Alex Smith is going to be a story 20 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
Especially more so if he actually comes back and, like, does something. Because, I mean, you got to think about it. Is Alex Smith, like, once he gets his legs under him, is he the best quarterback in the NFC East right now?
Probably.
You got Danny Dimes, you got Gilbert, and you got Carson Wentz. So I guess Carson Wentz is the competition.
I'm going to give that one a hard maybe.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's early still. Obviously, like we were saying, he's just getting his feet wet again. But
still happy for him. It like watching his wife cry. I can only imagine the amount of tension that she must have had his first time back in the game and the first time he took a hit.
Yep. Yeah, I was gonna say the first time he caught one. Yeah. Because he got sacked twice, so the first time he goes down, it's got to be like, uh-oh.
It's just like, get up.
Yeah.
So last one we'll kind of talk about, Offensive Rookie of the Year. What do you think?
I mean, it's been in flashes, but I mean, I would make a strong argument for Mapletron. I don't know. I haven't seen enough out of Clyde Edwards-Helaire to say him. And he's got such an explosive offense around him to begin with. Like Claypool's coming in and is like legitimately a number 2 receiver now. You know.
Yeah. I got my crow ready because the article says Justin Herbert. And the runner-up being Joe Burrow, Justin Jefferson, and Mapletron. At this point in time, I kind of agree with him. Justin Herbert's kind of been playing really well for a rookie, especially in the situation he's in. I don't want him to play well. I need him to stop.
Tone it down a little bit.
Yeah, bring it down. You're at like an 8. I need you to be like a 6, maybe a 5.
I had a take on you, and I need it to be correct.
Yeah, because Tua's going to come back. He's going to win Rookie of the Year, and then I'll feel better. So,
I guess, yeah, there's a really good argument for Joe Burrow. I mean, obviously.
Yeah. It almost feels like, especially once Joe Burrow got his feet wet and, like, that offense is kind of trending in a positive direction, like, he's shouldering a lot more responsibility than I thought he would as early as he has. Almost because he has to, because, you know, who the fuck else is on that team?
But does Joe Burrow suffer the same fate as what I was saying about the MVP, where you got to win games to be the most valuable? Like,
well, you don't for Offensive Rookie of the Year, because Kyler Murray won it with a losing record.
Yeah, but he wasn't like 2-6-1.
Well, they still got 8 games to play, man.
Yeah, I know.
7 games to play.
Right, which is why right now I wouldn't give it to Joe Burrow. We'll see what happens by the end of the season.
Yeah, I would argue that Justin Herbert has more claim to that than, well, not even, because the Chargers are only like 2-6. I don't know. We'll see how it shakes out towards the end of the year. Right now, if you put a gun to my head and said give the award to somebody, I'd give it to Tua. So
of course you would, because you want to be right about stuff.
Look, it's my award to give. Okay,
it's fair. Isn't it our award to give? It's just your segment.
We can have 2 awards. Okay. Be like the RJ's award and the Keith's award. One is wrong, one is right.
One is fourth, one is wrong.
There you go.
We got anything else to talk about?
Nope, that's all I got.
All right, so on that note, this has been the Fourth and Wrong podcast for November the 9th, 2020. Say goodbye, Keith.
Ba-ba-dum-ba.
It's not, nope. Try again.
Goodbye, Keith.
sweet. There it is. Motherfucker. Hey, everybody.
Dude, I got like I got like this budget Mark Wahlberg energy going on right now. Okay. Who's budget Mark Wahlberg?
Discount Mark Wahlberg is Donnie Wahlberg.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's gonna look at the end.